Hello? We have a big ol' raid, big ol' caca raid, raiding my holes from Mana Geek. Thank you so much. What were you doing on your stream? I thought we were rebuilding a keycron. Is that correct? How was your stream? Big ol' caca raid. Thank you so much for the raid. I will never forget this moment. I will never forget this moment. How is everyone? How are you? As you can see, we just started stream. We have not started building a keyboard, but we will. Keycron B1 Max! Max! Is it like really long or big? Is it really long and big? Unlike me. Anyway, Floppe, excuse me, get out of here. Hello? Okay. Let me see. How was everyone's week? I'm gonna start doing this as my camera. Is that okay? So you guys can see me and look at my pores. My pores, I have large pores. Is that okay? What was I gonna say? Oh yes, how was everyone's week? I am off tomorrow. I decided to take tomorrow off, and there's no stream on Monday. Did you hear me? No stream on Monday. This is my last stream of the year. Anyway, I'm not streaming on Monday because for reasons I'm not telling you. Anyway, okay, what's happening? Let's see what's happening. Asshole, congratulations on the first asshole. Oh god. Mohuba, thank you for the 10 push-ups. Mohussy, my sugar daddy is here. Hello. Y'all, my hand, I legit, you know, I have a lot of fidget toys. I have a whole fucking box of fidget toys. Like, I've gotten so many. I literally, my hand is fucking injured. Like, my pinky is injured. Also, my pinky and index are fucking injured as fuck, okay? Anyway, from fingering my fidgets, okay? Asshole, Emiphobia is here. Your name is Lydia and you like keep source. Source is your mama. I'm just kidding. I'm just gonna insult you by saying your mom because it's triggering to you. I'm just kidding. That's mean. You actually have trauma. Trauma mama. Okay, anyway, Kev Keyboard. Hello, welcome in Kevin Keyboard. How are you? Welcome. Can we get a shout out to Kev KBD, Emiphobia, Bibimbo? Let's see what's happening. It's going off. Ancilla is here. Welcome in, Ancilla. How are you? It's popping up. How is it? How are you doing? How is your night going? Little wolf like me, little caca like me, bricked up. We are bricked up, little caca. Yes. Can we get a shout out to little caca like me? Hello? Spaceballs is here. My Taiwanese king, the largest balls in Taiwan. Okay, who are we missing? We're missing Shonies. Shiloh Tussers is also here. Hello, Shiloh Tussie. Shout out to Shiloh Tussie. Shiloh Tussie. Oh, where's the thing that fucking Yee sent you? I stuck it up my butt. It's gone. Okay, what's happening? Popo sucks at boards. Welcome in. How are you? Why do you suck at boards? I need to know why. Okay, today we are building the long-awaited Pavlov from KBD fans. Okay? Clap if you're excited about this. Clap if you're excited, okay? It is in stock right now. Clap these cheeks if you're excited. It is in stock right now. Exclamation build. SAR exciting. SAR exciting. SAR's at 199. Please clap. Please clap. Y'all have seen that clip, Jeb Bush. Please clap. Yes, clap if you care. Okay, you guys care about keyboards. Couldn't be me. McClacky is here, my Canadian. Hello, how are you, McClacky? Can we get a shout out to McClacky? McClap that ass is here. Hello. It's been 6 weeks and Medic is still stuck in my head. You, like us magnetic. You, super eagerly. What are we doing today? Let me guess keyboards. We are doing keyboards today. Gross keyboards. I want you. Like it's magnetic. Anyway, rest in peace, Illit, okay? I'm eating bread with meat. Bread with meat. What kind of bread with meat? And I'm drinking sparkling water. What's a pavlova cake? What is that? I'm like a Pavlov dog. I'm a Pavlov dog. We should bark on today's stream, okay? I don't like sparkling water. Miss me with that shit. Miss me with that gay shit. Why do you want it sparkling? You like it when it's like bubbles are popping in your mouth and shit? That's kind of gay. It's kind of gay. Don't agree, but you're entitled to your opinion and taste. Excuse me. No one is entitled to their opinion and taste. You're not entitled. I will not agree to disagree. Okay? I will agree to... Well, I disagree with agreeing to disagree. Okay? Is that a problem? Clownfish OG is here. That looks like a fucking penis. What is that penis? Clownfish is here. How's your little fin? How's your little fin doing when he just flops like that? Ichigo Keeves is also here. Hello, how are you, Ichigo? Welcome in. Hello. Oh my god, great to see everyone here. Kaka, okay, I'm at his raid. Only 5 minutes behind. Hello, arf, arf, arf. We're barking tonight, okay? Let's see. Seriously, she's the man, the myth, the legend, Floppe, the key circle. Please do not shout out KNC Keys. Please do not buy stuff from KNC Keys, please. What do you have in stock? Green Jacket still, Floppe. What an absolute Floppe. Okay, should we? Okay, actually, before we get started on the build, I want y'all to vote on the switches, okay? Because I don't know what switches are. I also don't know what color we have, okay? I don't know what color we have. You traded one of your boards, Popol. What boards did you trade? Look at this stack. Look at this look at the stack of switches right here. Okay, we're gonna do a poll, okay? And do switches for the build. We have FR4, PC, and Alu. I think I'm gonna do FR4 first. I think we're gonna do 2 builds. Is that okay? Is that fucking okay with you guys? Jesus. Okay, switches. My finger fucking hurts, man. Green Jackets. This better not win. Mode tomorrow. We gotta throw in some tactiles, okay? Browns. Okay, my spelling is Ash. Ash. Shin high. Shin high. And we're gonna do some jammy, okay? Alright, please vote on the switches that you want. Cost the fuck? I'm not gonna allow additional votes. Excuse me. Alright, vote. Switches are live. I mean, not switches are live. Poll is live. Woke up looking like this, so don't get... Boss Quest is here. Hello. Yes, we gotta play Woke Up. Woke up looking like this, so don't get under my skin. Woke up looking like this. Hey! Hey! We played it last stream and all I could do was, hey! The entire time. Woke up looking like this, so don't get under my skin. Hey! 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 Hello, shout out to Boss Quest. Hello, welcome in. How are you, Boss Zaddy? Nice beard, thank you. Your pores. I lie inside, it's comfy and pleasant. I stream on Monday, got it? Hi, I'm gonna send switches to you on Geld is here. Hello, Geld, who are you? You'll send switches tomorrow on God. Well, I'm not gonna be here, okay? So you can send them. I won't be here. I won't be here, I'm moving, and I'm not giving you my address. Keyboard Father is here, aka HMX King. 1/3 of the HMX squad, inclusive of Boket Bob, Shiloh Tussie. Hello. Shout out to Keyboard Father. Why no stream? What are you doing? Why are you leaving us? I'm not telling you guys anything, okay? You traded the Link 65 for LaFish 60. What the fuck is a LaFish? Is that a Kohaku? LaFish? LaFish 65. I have not heard of that board. LaFish. Oh! I think that's a good trade. It's like an XT. It looks cool. Who made this? Lysol. Very cool, very nice. Good trade. How do you like it? Good. Neither of us is streaming on Monday. It's gonna be a dark day for keyboards. Dark day for all of us, okay? Dark day. We're entering the dark ages. All right, what switches? Green. Why are y'all voting on Green Jackets? Honestly, this is really fucking offensive to me when I specifically told you guys not to support KMS Keys. Okay? Don't even support them, okay? Because my opinion of Green Jackets is extremely biased, okay? By the way. Okay, anyway, do y'all want to look at this keyboard that we're gonna build? There it is, the Pavlov. The Pavlov. The Pavlov, okay? Pavlov is Russian. Let's see. Let's see. Why is this keyboard called the Pavlov? Pavlov dog, like a Pavlov dog. Okay, what's happening? Who is she? I don't know. I'll be camping out in chat 10 minutes before because I will have forgotten. Thank you. I will make sure I change my stream title to no stream, you bozo. Ivan Petrovich Pavlov. I think, honestly, listen. Lots of content creators, you know, they're talking about keyboards, right? But we need to talk about the history behind these keyboards. I think we need to start a history podcast. because there's simply not enough podcasts out there in the world. I really think we need to start more podcasts, okay? And to honor this keyboard, let me give you some background and lore. Is that okay? I can't believe Green Jackets won. I hate you guys. Ivan Pavlov, the namesake of this keyboard. Can we please get into it, okay? What is his name? Ivan Petrovich Pavlov was a Russian and Soviet experimental neurologist and physiologist known for his discovery of classical conditioning through his experiments with dogs. I am literally being I am the Pavlov dog, okay? We love to see it. Founder of modern behavior therapy. You guys need this shit. Y'all need some fucking behavior therapy, okay? Nobel Prize in physiology or medicine. Like, I have high expectations for this keyboard. If you're gonna fucking, what is it? This is a dog? Look at this dog. One of Pavlov's dogs was a surgically implanted cannula. This bitch implanted a dog? Bro, that is fuck. What the fuck? You did that? Why would you do that? That's fucked up. I don't support it. I don't support this keyboard anymore. I'm sorry. That's like war crimes, honestly. Seriously. Practicing those hands for Guy-Ussy. What the fuck is Guy-Ussy? Tomorrow's the first day this week that I'll be home the entire week so I can get down to the post office. Get down. You're gonna drop it low. Get down. Okay. Let's see. What is this? 65% mechanical keyboard. I've never heard of 65% mechanical keyboard before. I think this is honestly like really groundbreaking. QMK compatible. I've never heard of that either. Top mount and tadpole mount also like completely revolutionary. Okay, just like Pavlov. Internal screw design. Also never heard of that. 7-degree typing table. That's crazy. Effective keyboard height. That is just fucking insane. I've never seen this. What color did we get? Jiuhong? Jiuhong means wine. We got a wine. We got a wine. We got a wine color board. Jiuhong. I thought yesterday was today, so I sat ready for stream 24 and a half hours ago. Y'all, you don't even know. I have had such a fucking busy day, like dead ass. I've been so fucking busy at work. It's been absolutely insane. And I'm about to lose my shit. I'm just kidding. What? Bibimbo, I'm awake. Bibimbop, brick up, magnetic. You. Like it's magnet. TBH, same as all Lydia's fault. Yes, but rest in peace, Illit, though, because they're gonna die. Okay. Well, they're not gonna die, that's mean, but they're like going through it, you know? My cheeks are clapping. I have not shat all day, so it's possible I may like shit right now, like right at this moment. Clap, clap, clap. What's happening? You're so femme, Horf. Best viewers on, why did you delete that? Best viewers on grow your Twitch followers says, why would you delete that? You're a bot. Why would you delete messages against your people? What? Do not diss Sparkling? I will diss Sparkling. I will diss it. Okay, I almost banned you. S. Pellegrino? What the fuck is S. Pellegrino? Oh my god, Koala Gone Wild? XXX, Koala Gone Wild and Wet? We change your name to Koala Gone Wet? How are your finals? Are you dying and struggling? Go back to studying! Go back to studying! You are disappointment to your mother! Okay, I'm just kidding. That's hit a little too hard. Anyway, how's your studying? Anyway. Okay, so let's see what we have. What do we have here? FR4 plate. Bam! PC plate. Bam! Alu plate. Bam! PCB. I'm not gonna slam this, okay? But we have the hot swap PCB. Lovely. Foam. Fuck this shit. We don't care about foam. Yeet! We gotta yeet it in the back, okay? What's this? Accessories box. Oh my god, look, we have screws. We got the Geon tadpoles. This is crazy, man. We got everything, okay? Listen, this is the whole package, okay? This is not bigger than my package, though. Pavlova got a meringue cake. What the fuck is meringue cake? Batty little... bathroom is here. I hope everyone having a great day so far. I'm having such a lovely day. Like, I am never not having great. I'm constantly manic, okay? Bathrobe, Christina. How are you? Ichigo keeps, I'm okay. Love you, Queen 99. Thank you. I'm glad you're well, Ichigo. Okay, what does Ichigo mean? Shout out IG. Look at who this is. Cox Cumbra is here, my boyfriend. How are you? You're the best Switch. Thank you. RIP that Squishmallow says, bro, this Squishmallow is like, fuck. It's like, look at it. It's like, it's permanently deformed. Look at this shit. But like, I farted on this so much. Should I like sell it? I can smell my residual fart particles on it. My farticles, okay? Fart scented, okay? Green jackets, it's okay to do more than one build? I don't think so. It's honestly kind of groundbreaking. Okay, here we go. We're gonna see what is in here. Let's 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Okay, well, let's move this. We're gonna use green jackets because you guys are fucking simps. Oh, fuck. Okay, what are we doing? All right, let's look at this keyboard. Should I throw this keyboard in the trash? Clap if you wish I should throw this keyboard in the trash. Okay, I'm just kidding. Okay, let's look at this, okay? Hashtag ad, hashtag sponsored, okay? Get some. How to pole dancing. This is awesome. Literally had woke up in my head. I had woke up stuck in my head the all day. It stuck in my head all day, especially Harvey's part where she's like, ride away, because we gotta ride away. That part, oh my god, woke up leaked. Wait, why is woke up best song to wake up to? Woke up looking like this, so don't get under my skin. Woke up looking like this. Woke up looking like this, so don't get under my skin. What a bop. Okay, we're like, can we listen to Woke Up, like 1 hour version? Woke Up 1 hour version. I'm sorry, you guys are gonna have to put up with this. 1 hour version. I think we need to loop the 1 hour. We gotta listen to it. Woke up looking like this. HMX King. Sorry, Twitch broke for me. I just joined back. On Monday, you're traveling to Aurora to smooch me on the head. Excuse me? Excuse me? That would be a crime in Norway. Okay, I would be shot on the spot in Norway. Check that HHKB. Yes, my HHKB, my Snow White HHKB. I like the whiteys. Very good board. Dark Prez, welcome in. How are you? How's your week? Okay, let's look at this keyboard. Should we look? Ride away, because we gotta ride away. Oh my god, Empo Jangles. Girl, get that garage door closed. It's been a year, baby. Oh my god, it's been a whole year. Empo Jangles, happy anniversary. You're here early today, Empo. I'm actually, I've been closing my garage door. I actually fucking broke my mirror backing into the garage door. It was not fun to get that replaced. Okay. All right. We gotta shaft it. You gotta just really shaft. Yeah, this is the proper way. Thank you so much, Empo, for the resubby. My sub. Look at this wine. Look at that rich wine color. Oh, look at that. Pavlov right on the back. Look at this. This kind of reminds me, you know what this reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of the Neo. The Near. With that, that's a very simple back weight. So don't get under my skin. Woke up looking like this. Hey. Dude, I'm about to shit right now, bro. I'm not gonna lie. My stomach is not feeling good. O-ring. Oh my god. Juria's rap. I'm sorry, okay? Look at this fucking keyboard, okay? I love this. This is like wine, bro. This is like true wine color. I'm getting all my nasty fingerprints on it. Look at that shit. Look at that ano. Can we look at ano streaks? That beautiful ano. Internal screws. Oh my god, I love my Kohaku. I love the Kohaku. I bet it's gonna sound good. We're gonna do tadpole. Is it gonna sound amazing? Look at these grooves. Oh my god, look at that top. Look at that top. We're topping. Look at that side profile. Look at that ass. Look at that front profile. Let me grab the Niar. Okay, this is the Niar. I mean, it's not exactly alike. It just reminds me of it because of the simple weight design and the kind of border, Okay, we're gonna see which one is better. Okay, this one has KMS keys, Coochie Kringle switches on it. Okay, we don't fuck with them. We don't fuck with them. They're on the do not interact list. Okay, let's see. So it's Cherry on Alu. Thanks, Nongs. Is she doing reverse psychology specifically? What? Ithrak is here. Shout out to Ithrak. How are you? Yes, Ithrak has saved me so many times. Last time with the fucking, what is it? The Angel 65 almost fucked my holes. I almost fucked myself. Okay. Welcome in, Ithrak. Okay, what are we doing? Oh god. Okay, let's see. This is the This is the PCB. Apparently, this does not have 7U step cap or split backspace support. So we should end build right here, right? Should we just end it? Should we end it all? Look at this. This is the layout. There's only one layout. It's a 6.25U. So this is set. This is the only layout you get, okay? So go cry me a river. Cry me a river. I voted not green jackets because my Lord and Savior Lydia told me not to vote. Thank you, thank you. Touch my body? No, that's harassment. That's harassment against me if I touch you, actually. So Pavlov got that dog in it. I got that dog in me. I got that dog in me. It's the wolf inside me, okay? Arf, arf, arf. I don't think podcasting will catch on. I would love to start a podcast. You know, I really think I need to do a podcast because everyone is doing one, you know. Clearly it will change me in my life. Okay, we need something. Jeez, Bella's bitch, we need behavior therapy. Listen, I need behavior therapy as well. Honestly, stream is behavior therapy for me. It is exposure therapy, but for you guys, you know. That boy be drooling, it's different. Canceled, renamed. What would you rename this keyboard? If you didn't name it the Pavlov, what would you rename it? So don't get out of my skin. I woke up looking like this. Hey, hey, hey. Where's my fucking, what the fuck? Should I use this? All right, we're gonna break these tabs off. And we should sniff the FR4 fumes. Is that okay? I need a saliva measure. Can we get us, okay. We should do a competition where I ship everyone a saliva measure, and then I have to measure how much saliva how much saliva you collect throughout stream. That will determine who's the biggest simp, okay? Can we do that? Can everyone here buy a saliva measure? I need to know who the biggest simp is. I need to know who's literally barking and drooling for me, okay? Is that okay? Wine, tadpole, frog, frog, frog. Yes, this has tadpole and top mount, okay? We're tadpoling and top mounting, okay? I'm very curious about how this compares to Niar, okay? Thank you all so much for the, oh, well, there was not a hype trade, but thank you so much for the subbies, okay? My subbies, I'm your dumb mommy. Okay, look at this. Look at this. This could be a weapon. I could stab you. I could stab you, you know? I could just stab you right there. Yo, I've been on site these huge medical centers every day. Why are you on medical centers? Why are you doing that? Make a shit redeem. Remember, we were gonna make a get pregnant redeem. We were gonna make a get pregnant redeem. Should I still make it? Hold up. I think I'm gonna make it right now. The get pregnant redeem. Where is it? If someone actually gets it, I will get pregnant. Cause like I take my redeem seriously. Like it's a contract between me and my viewers. Add channel reward. Okay. Pregnancy. Did it create? Error saving award. Hold up. Okay, there. I added pregnancy. Pregnancy is now a new redeem on my channel. Okay, so good luck. Best of luck. You know, good luck with your achievements and goals. Okay. Koala gone wet. Koala gone wet, wild and wet. Koala gone Disney World. Disneyland, excuse me? It's not Disney World. He lives in California, not Florida. Get your fucking facts straight, the Key Circle. This is why no one likes you. Oh, by the way, it was the Key Circle's birthday this weekend. Can everyone say happy birthday to the Key Circle? He's very lonely. He's very lonely and he really desires me. Can everyone wish him a happy birthday? He is 34, I think. Get on my skin. Woke up, I gave birth to him, but I don't know. The frog gets so much ass. What frog? What the fuck is that? What frog? Or what are y'all talking about? Why are y'all talking about frogs and ass? So what's this? There's 2 tadpoles? Why are there so many holes on this? Okay. Can we look at this website thing? Okay, so anodized purple is still available. I think I have anodized burgundy, actually. Yeah, mine is anodized burgundy. Okay, so anodized burgundy is 24 left. E white black. Unfortunately, these anodized top, I guess these are gone. The different color ones are gone, okay? Hot swap PCB. Oh, wait, so you gotta add PCB. You gotta add a PCB, so it starts at 234, okay? Specifications includes weight, 1 hot swap PCB. Oh, okay, wait, this is an additional PCB. Got it. But it does come with the PCB tadpoles, okay? Lovely. Okay? All non-flex cut, 1.6 millimeter non-flex cut PCB. We love it. But there's no solder PCB option. It does not appear to have the PCB option, okay? Designed by Destiny. Amazing. Awesome. Blew my mind. I am breathtaking away. Okay, is that okay? I'm farting and sharding, okay? Tadpole mount, 68 only 68 hardness available. Can we measure nipple hardness in this? What is this measurement? A. Like, what does this A stand for? Can someone tell me? Like, when they say, like, 30A, 40A, various... Gian's tadpole. Gian Daddy's tadpole has various hardness ratings. This is kind of sussy. Allows users to fine-tune their typing experience based on their preferences. If you have other hardness requirements, excuse me, I have other hardness requirements, okay? I have other hardness requirements. Bro, my stomach is like, I'm going through it, bro. I'm not kidding. I might like blast out my asshole. Like, I literally might have to pause stream and like blast out of my holes, bro. Cause like, I am like, we'll see. We are building a boop at some point. And okay, we're getting distracted. Can we just build this? Anyway, oh my god, I'm so fucking thirsty, bro. Meringues, a mixture of stiffly beaten meat, egg whites. Excuse me, beating meats. I wish I was that Squishmallow. Farticles, Randy Ocean. Thank you for the shout out to Randall C. How are you? We should do stabs. Why did I take off my... Bro, I'm like... It is a stirring in my bowels right now, I'm just gonna say. Should we have a Shart redeem? What more redeems would you want? Shart? Okay, let's see what stabs we already have, okay? Is this I think this is a 6U. Is this a 6U? No, hold on. Where are the clip-ins? Okay, this one is a clip-in. Is this a 1.2U? Oh, I mean 1.2 millimeter? Hopefully not. I don't think so. Woke up looking like this. I don't think this is a 1.2, right? No, this is perfect. Just pre-lube your stabs. Let me have it. Confections elaborate. Okay, I know confections. That's when you like admit that you did something, you know? Confections. I make confections. Like, people do that at church and stuff, you know? Like, when they feel bad. When they feel bad about, you know, like crimes they've committed and sins and stuff, they do confections. I'm so intelligent. Socks is here. Welcome in, Socks. Good morning, Socks. How are you? Turn up the volume. Whore of Kimlin Win is here. Welcome in. How are you? How is it going? Shout out to Kim. Hello. Are there any Dallas meets going on? I need to go up to Dallas. I need to see all my fans. I'm just kidding. My loves, my beloveds, you know, so many fans all around the world. What stab is this? Is this a 6U stab? Can we use this? Oh god. What's this? I feel like this is like weird. I don't know what stab this is. Okay, let's just use this one maybe. Oh my god, this is fucked. Is this a what is this stab? I don't know. Okay, now we gotta screw it in. Now we gotta screw it all the way in. Okay, she's gonna joke about simply beaten. Bro, Emmyphobia, what the fuck, bro? I'm literally a fucking NPC. I literally joked about Simply Beaten, and then I see that you are saying she's gonna joke about Simply. What the fuck, bro? This is not even funny anymore. This is not even funny. 1 hour 9-night karaoke bulk up version, exactly. My own version. Taylor's version, but 9-night's version. There is less homophobia in big cities. Is there? Is there less homophobia in big cities? What if I went to... What if I went to Moscow? What if I went to Moscow and I started screaming, I'm gay? Are they gonna punch me in the face and arrest me? I think so. They're literally gonna Britney Griner me. Like, seriously. And they wouldn't do like some kind of exchange for me because I'm unimportant, you know? The keyboard committee would really have to rally around me. kiss me through the phone. Iron Man colorway. Akigami is here. Hello? Welcome in, Akigami. How are you, Akigami? Why are you still here? What brings you here today? What brings you here today? Okay. What brings you in today? I think there's lots of issues that we need to address. Honestly, I think there's some beef between us, and I think it's really detrimental to keyboard community. Where's Pavlov dog? Yeah, this is not the Neo 65. The Near 65. Is this board gonna be goated? Is this board goated? I want to know. Is it fire? I'm your sub. Tie me up. Excuse me. You have to pay for those services. Random moan. I can't. Thank you. I know you're here for random moans, McClacky. Bathroom stream. Listen, it's gone away for now. I'll keep y'all updated on my bowels, but like it was, I would really was like, okay, I gotta pause stream and go take a shit. But now, you know, now I feel better. Can we make it through the stream? I think we need to do a prediction where if I can make it to the typing test without taking a shit. I think that is like, or if I can finish the stream without having taken a shit, you know, like that's important. Let's see, she has to speed up stream to be able to shit. I actually though. But yes, as you guys know, as I've mentioned, there's a very, you know, it's a set layout here, but you know, I don't mind. I don't care if it's 6U. Fuck it. Well, I do care if it's 6U. I don't care if it's 7U. Wrong Dussers, Nine Nussy. 16 months. Thank you, Wrong Dussy. Listen, Coconut's part just came on. It's for you. Mother Coconut mothered so hard in this. Oh, Casit's the OC. Yeah, that's me, Lord have mercy. I love that line. I love that line. She's slay. You don't get under my skin. Well, I'm already playing Woke Up, bro. I have the 1 hour Woke Up version. Why did you redeem again? Can we get a shout out to Wrong Dongs? Hello? How is Korea? How are you, Shonies? Shonies, you literally need to marry Emiphobia because she literally wants to be a part of your people. Like, she is dying to be a part of your people, okay? Niar, I washed all my flower pots and balcony. Pretty clean look. Very clean. Very clean look, you know? Let's see. I washed all my flower pots and balcony, so I'm sore as hell today. Wow, look at you doing stuff. That means you went outside. That's insinuating that you went outside, okay? That's kind of crazy, okay? I will start vacuuming the floor and then mop it. 9 a.m. Korea time. Shonies. It's honestly insane that you're in another fucking time zone, yet you're like here 99% of the time. Honestly, my biggest fan. He's my biggest fan. You all lose. Wolf like me, little wolf like me, but you're a large caca like me, okay? Clean floors ain't nothing quite like it. My floor is very clean. I've been very good about cleaning my room, actually. So thanks. Well, you're welcome, mother. Frost Zeech is here? Well, actually, Frost Zeech, I don't think we're gonna be able to use Frost Switch on this, so you can leave. You can leave now, Frost bitch. I'd limit bloody cherry. This is kind of like a cherry bloody color, you know, like not really period blood. Semi-dry. Semi-dry, okay? Neo 6.25. Should I call this the Neo 6.25? That's a good idea. Schrodinger's cat salivating right now. Bro, I don't know, bro. I am like so thirsty. XD. I work there, Nana. You work at a hospital. Are you a doctor? Can you diagnose me? Diagnose me with tomfoolery and bamboozlery. Okay? Okay, I think that's a fair diagnosis of what's happening here. Pregnarf, make Nana pregnant, redeem, gotta redeem. I mean, you guys can pick the way in which I get pregnant, okay? Sounds like the best thing of birthing a child into the world. Mother, why was I born? Oh, I had a pregnant redeem on Twitch. Happy birthday, Lonely the Key Circle. Yes, happy birthday, the Sex Circle, okay? Thank you all so much for wishing him a happy birthday. He's a very lonely, sad man. He just messaged me. I wonder what he's saying. Let's see. Yes, he says I'm his #1 supporter. I always talk about frogs. I never talk about frogs. I never not talk about frogs. I love frogs. We haven't had that many, you know, cat redeems and stuff. Oh, another tadpole mount. Mummy, hello. Yes, Mummy's board. Mummy's K. So we're gonna be building a K. Okay, the Kin K board. Anyway. We're gonna be building a K next Thursday because I'm not streaming on Monday. I know you guys are gonna be shitting and crying and vomiting. You know, I know it's just devastating. honestly so devastating for the keyboard community that I don't stream one day. Like, how is this community gonna survive without me? Like, it's honestly just insane. Like, I'm like just so impactful, you know? It's crazy. Might shit your entire hole. I might shit my hole. Is that okay? Is that okay for me to say? You have a problem with me shitting my hole? Okay. Shout out KNC Keys. Shout out IG KNC Keys. Kevin Keyboard and the Key Circle. Not even the fucking superior Kevin in my chat, okay? By the way, for anyone who is interested, OmniType just Loki posted listing for Bauer Light internal weight. Wait, where? Wait, but I don't have a Bauer Light anymore. I gave it away. Bauer Light? Where? Where is it? Hold on. Internal weight? Where did they post it? Complete your build. Internal weight? Hold up. Memorial Day 15% off. Bar light bottom, bar light top. I don't see internal weight. Where did they post it? Kids got a rat away. Can someone send it to me? My girlfriend got me a watch. I did. You got a problem? You had a problem with me? What kind? Lodia? A green one? That's a green. Yes, I got him an Orient Bambino. I think it's what it's called. Bambussi. Orient Bambussi. Hold on. I gotta go to the other Twitch chat so I can read this. Where? Okay. What is this? Bar light internal weight. That's wild. But that means it's not so light anymore. Bar not so light. Okay, Lodia, Liam is here. Welcome in, Liam. Honestly, Liam and Alvo kind of look alike. They kind of remind me of each other. Liam, shout out to Liam. Liam, how are you? I'm gonna see you at the mode meetup in July. Okay, I'm gonna yell your ears off. Okay, we're done putting on the worst switches in the world on this keyboard. Okay, now, should we put feet on here? Okay. We have a little package here. We got a little package here, okay? So don't get under my skin. Woke up looking like this. Hey. Woke up looking like this. So don't get under my skin. Woke up looking like this. Hey, do you know how obnoxious I'm gonna fucking be when XG's full album comes out? Like, this is one fucking single, and I'm being so fucking obnoxious already. I wonder why. I'm being so obnoxious. You know, it's like, I don't even know who they are. Like, they're just like some Nugu. You know, there's just some Nugu group, you know? Show me my gift from lovely girth friend. Show the people my gift from my... What? You don't have... Where? What? What are you talking about? Show them. I've been here a year. I know you. Yes, Emmyphobia knows what I'm going to say before I'm even going to say it. I would recommend going to Moscow and shouting that you're gay. Why would you not recommend it? I love Putin. Putting these nuts in my mouth. Putting your cock in my mouth. Okay. All right. Flip this over. All right. This is our first build. Okay. So don't cry. There's going to be more of it, you know. Like, unfortunately for everyone here, you know. So don't get under my skin. Woke up looking like this. Okay. What's happening? You might get disappeared. Is Putin going to kill me? Is Putin going to put his nuts into my mouth? I would like to know. Do we think he has large nuts? I kind of think maybe he has large nuts. I don't know. Just speculation. I don't know. Maybe he might be overcompensating. Maybe that's why. Maybe he's gay. Maybe he's gay. That's why he hates me. He hates me personally. He told me that, actually. You might get to say, hello, friend. Aaronish is here. Can we get a shout out to Aaronish? Occasional streamer Aaronish, how are you? It was great seeing you. I feel like the meetups that we have been to, I'm like, like we don't talk at all really, but like somehow I end up like hanging out with you quite a bit at meetups. You know, are we in love with each other? I think we might be in love with each other, actually. For some, like literally, like I feel like we somehow just like hang out with each other, you know? Oh God, is this, I feel like I'm not using the right hole. I mean, not the right hole, the right thing. Is this what kind of, oh, this is a different scoop. Bro, I feel it coming. I feel it coming out my ass. Not out my ass, but it's like, my stomach is not feeling good. I have a tummy ache, okay? Fell at balcony. I'm tired and had to break up a fight today. At school? Daddy Akigami had to break up a fight at school? Hello? What fight? Wait, what were they fighting about? Can you give me the tea on these teenagers? What were they fighting about? Do you get a lot of like hair pulling and stuff like that? I haven't seen any coverage of support yet, but it's almost sold out. I think Alex built it already, right? I've seen some coverage, you know. I bet you guys don't want me to have coverage, though. I just subbed for 6 months. Where did you sub for 6 months? What? Where? Wait, I don't see it. Well, thank you, Gub, for subbing for 6 months. I don't even see it. I don't see it on my side thing, but thank you. Thank you. Yes, thank you for the shout out to Aaronish, Nainussi, Wronger, the Donger. Shinodo is here. I don't know if he's still here, but Shinodo, congratulations on your pregnancy. I'm just kidding. Your wife is pregnant. But can we please congratulate Shinodo? Can we please congratulate Shinodo on he and his wife are pregnant? He's actually pregnant. We successfully hit the pregnancy redeem on Shinodo. Congratulations. I hope you're happy with your child. I hope you don't regret your child, you know? How do you do 16 months? Unless you choose 6 months. Wait, what? You actually just suffered for six months? Yo, Yee, yo, oh my god, Yee has been here for 17 fucking months. Yee's been here for longer than Emiphobia. That is crazy. Thank you, Yee. Hi, Nana, I hope you had a great week. You know, I had a very busy, stressful week at work. You know, work is always crazy. I'm preparing for trial. Trial is definitely going to be going in June, so I just want to give everyone a heads up. In June, my schedule might not be as consistent. I'm definitely going to be missing stream for, I don't know, a few days, okay? So just FYI, that's just my excuse to never stream again, okay? But yes, thank you very much, Yee. How was your week? What am I doing? What are we doing? Tadpole. Okay, there's a lot of mounts here. There's a lot of... Oh, one is for top, one is for tadpole. Okay, we got it. Okay. I'm cooking. I know what I'm doing. Okay, so which one? The ones on the left? Hold up. Okay, I can do this. And now I'll know. Okay. Let's see. Young Queen Coconut, but she out here like an Oni? Exactly. Oh, I just said Oni. Let's see. I need tier 3 sub. Dude, you said you were gonna tier 3 sub Stacy Smash. You still haven't tier 3 sub my girl Stacy Smash. You slacking. You're slacking, bro. You got a tier 3 sub Stacy, okay? Save your money and tier 3 Stacy instead, okay? Bro, this is tight. Like, this goes in the hole like tight as fuck. Look at this. I gotta like pull it out from the other side. Look at this little PP. Look at this. That's your PP. I'm like swinging it. This is us. This is so us. Anyway, hydrate. Thank you. I really do need to hydrate. Halfway outside, not fully outside. Shoni early stream. Emmy late stream. 9 a.m. versus 2 a.m. You guys are on almost the same schedule. GMK Bingsu on this? I think Bingsu... Okay, I do have a lot of keycaps that I think would match this pretty well. So, we've got options. We've got options, lady. Okay? I mean, sir, sorry. Anyway, NICU, hello, how are you, NICU? How are you? Were you born in the NICU? Is that what it is? Like, natal emergency? Like, where, like, babies almost die? Anyway, what's up? What's up, guys? It's me, Nana Go, back with another stream. Today, we're gonna be building the Pavlov. Oh, fuck, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus, okay. It doesn't. The hobby explodes and reconstitutes itself when it comes back. Thank you. The universe explodes when I leave because everything has to revolve around me. I make the rules. Hello, homosexuals. Are y'all serving cunt today? I love that. Brian, hello. Hello, homosexuals. Hey, homos. Instead of saying, hey, sister, he should have just said, hey, homos. Hey, homos, how are you? Brian, how are you? How are you doing? How is Brian? What's another famous Brian? Bryan Cranston. Also, Brian from Family Guy. Dude, I can't get this through the hole. This is like really tight. This is like really tight. I literally can't squeeze it through the hole. You see I'm trying to squeeze it through the hole? This is tight as fuck, bro. I think I need to grab another one because this is real tight. Can I even like squeeze this through? Oh, no, I can't. I can't because... Oh, I see. Okay, okay, that's a smaller hole. There's big... These holes are... Okay, so okay. There are smaller holes and there are bigger holes. So you see? So the hole on the right is... This one is slightly bigger than this one. This one is top mount hole. This one is a tadpole hole, okay? Several holes for you to penetrate, okay? You got it? You gotta figure out what your size is. You gotta figure out what your size is, okay? You gotta make sure it fits, okay? That's why I test drive, okay? I've lost so many points on typing Gamma. Hand routines are expensive for me. Well, that's a fucking rest in peace for you. That's not my problem, sister. Did anyone grab a Neo Ergo? Which config? Should I grab a Neo Ergo? Should I do it? Who grabbed a Neo Ergo? Neo Ergar? Who grabbed one? Can someone tell me? Can I steal it from you? Okay, let's put this in. Does this go? How does this go? I've never built a keyboard in my entire life. How does this? This goes like that. Bounce to the next stop. A little more than ordinary. Okay, there you go. And then we got it. Oh my god, Maya fucking killed her. Maya is a fucking queen, okay? My underrated queen. I'm just gonna put 2 screws because I don't care. We love your obnoxious vibes. XG makes me feral, same. XG, did y'all know XG's concert, their dates got leaked. If you actually go on their website, you can look at the code. It's in their website. So I actually went and looked, and I already know the dates for all the I already know all the US dates. So they're coming to Texas in August. Not August, fuck, October. I'm very excited. All right, tadpole mount this baby. Under my skin. All right, tadpole mount. Are we successful? Are we gonna be successful? Please insert. Oh, this bottom. Okay, wait. All right, there. There you go. We did it. We did it. Okay, time to screw everything back in. Okay. Fire not so light. Avo. Did anyone? Oh wait, actually, easy fair. Oh god, we have similar personalities. It's easy. Oh, you think we're the same or something? Emiphobia. Silent. Oh, silent tactiles. Blue baby blue case. Silver mirror. Wait, PP play. Osame winter glow. At least your streaming personality. Wu chue. Wu chue. Still guide like that, Jake. How do I always walk in when the fun is starting? What do you mean the fun? What do you mean when the fun is? Are you insinuating that there are non-fun parts of my stream? My stream was always fun, excuse me. How are you, Jake? Who are you? So you get fun is always happening here? Hello? Occasional streamer Aaronish? We always have fun here, you know? I love it when people say, I love it. Anyway, I love it when I say, we have fun here. You know, we have fun here. Because it's like, you guys have to have fun here. If you're not having fun, then, like, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry you're not experiencing joy. I grabbed champagne, Golden Kernel. Golden Kernel? What the fuck is Golden Kernel? Gold PVD. We'll play... Well, should I buy a Neo Ergo right now? One like, clap if I should buy a Neo Ergo right now. Even though I don't care about keyboards anymore. I care. I'm just kidding. I lied. Okay, let's pick keycaps. I hope this... I have high hopes. Very... We'll see. We'll see how this sounds, okay? If it sounds like shit, then we definitely need to blame the switches, okay? Can we do that? Let's see. First, let's Emiphobia as a true vampire. I ordered mine last night. If you try Alice, this will be a great start. I don't have a single Alice board. I've only owned 2. I've owned the Maja V1 from KBD fans. That was my first not Alice, Arisu. My bad. I'm sorry. Oh, shit! Anyway, and then my second was the Owl Lab. What the fuck is it called? What the fuck is their split called? Or is there a Risu called? Owl Lab, fucking whatever the fuck. Whatever, I forgot what it's called. I have that one, but then I'm a split right shift user. I'm a right shift user. I'm sorry, okay? Okay? You can just shoot me and hang me. Okay? You can tar and feather me if you want. I'm sorry, okay? Fighting at school is not Slick Trillet. It is not Slick Trillet. It is not Poggin or Moggin. Okay, you are not mogged. Okay, they're gaslighting. Do they even make you know? I got the dog in me. Same. No feedback is here. Welcome. No feedback. Okay, let's grab some keycaps. So we have these. Do these kind of match? This is the Villanelle. Holy shit! This is like really nice map. Okay, Villanelle. We also should grab Bingsu. Well, we have Bordeaux, this, and Bingsu. Okay, I'm grabbing these. I'm grabbing these, okay? So I have a lot of these kind of red-ish colors, okay? Didn't recognize this board for Geo. Hello. I didn't recognize this board at first, but it rings a bell. Oh my god, he's so funny. GR, how are you? Thank you for the shout out to Geo. Hello. Daddy Geo, Canadian Daddy is here. How are you? How goes the cable business? Okay, Caps. Bingsu. Euro. Villanelle. Oh, fuck. And Bordeaux. Those are the options. Okay. There you go. Start poll. 3-minute poll. Have mercy. Thai tea civilization. I don't have civilization. Haha, baby girl. You ever having a baby girl? Baby girl. How far behind am I? I'm only 9 minutes behind. That's not bad. I've been binging HHKB board on yes. HHKB is the best. I've got 1, 2, 3. I got 4 HHKB. No, I have 5 HHKB keyboards. Actually, kind of crazy. Let's see. I think I saw Alex Soto's build plateless. I love the naked LED. Lydia, I've been here 17 months too. It says 16 months. Excuse me. Well, rub it in late bloomer. I found out that Gogo late sue me. I'll notice you. Loyal AF. Yeah, I think I feel validated. Following since January 20th, 2023. Wow, that is early on actually. I started streaming. When did I start streaming? Maybe I should know. Maybe what? Okay, we shouldn't care when I started. We should care when I should stop. Is the real question. Okay. Also, I don't think I should give details about what happened. It really pissed me off. Oh, okay. Talking about the fight that had to be giving context to Lydia due to delay. I think they sharded on each other. They started throwing poop at each other. Okay. Lydia, I've been here for a while as well. Notice me, mommy. I notice you, Brian. Of course. A whole year. You're noticed. Maker Mods is here. Welcome in. You know, I actually studied your video while making my video. My only ever fucking review video on my YouTube. Could we get a YouTube shout out to Maker Mods? It is a beautiful, beautiful shade, okay? Let's see. So Bingsu would look really nice. Yuru would also look really nice too. Yuru would kind of give it like a little bit of a more of a colorful pop. All right, Yuru also worked. Honestly, I think all of these keycaps work. Like Bordeaux. Like, look at that. But I think Villanelle is like a really close. I think Villanelle is the closest match. Like, look at this. That is like a really. It's not like perfect. Honestly, if this was shiny, it'd be a perfect match. I'm just saying. Okay. Let's see. Hi, Gio. Finally remember what is Twitch. Hello. Welcome in. I'm glad you remember Twitch and joined this stream. Okay, what's winning right now? Villanelle is winning. Okay, I'm just going to start putting on Villanelle. Okay, we have 9 votes for Villanelle. And then we will, this is our first build. We will be doing a second build with a different plate. So this is the FR4. We got some stock green jackets in here, okay? My holes are tight. Can you prove it? Can you prove that you're tight? All right. Tony is here. Thrash and Tony. Hello. Thrash and Tony wants to stretch out Brian's holes. Excuse me. Gay behavior in chat. We love it. We support it. My gay children. Can we get a shout out to Tony? We gotta use this artisan from Stinky Keys. Okay. I love this artisan from Stinky Keys. It matches perfectly. Okay. I hope this sounds good. I hope this sounds good. By the way, I am playing the same song over and over. It sounds... Why does it sound like that? Hold on, let me put in some lube. Let me put in some lube on this. I don't think it's a spacebar issue. I think we'll see. We'll see. Maybe we need to add a little bit of foam to the case. We'll add a little bit of lube here. Okay. We'll see. We'll see. Horv, LMFAO, still that guy. What, there's a keyboard called Brian? Brian? There's a keyboard called Brian? Oh, it's from Alas. Oh, we should have tried this. I don't know, man. I don't know. We might need to change out the spacebar switch because the spacebar is really important to me. Like this sounds, you know, we might need to, hold on. Hold on. Actually, no. Whiteface Mountain, welcome in. How are you? Okay, I'm gonna try to read it faster. There are bigger and smaller holes. Yes, please write that down. Don't skill me. Is there a knife emote? Can we add a knife emote? Where's Insty? He adds all the emote. Oh my god, he just said emotes. He adds all the emotes, okay. I hope this... I think we need to change the spacebar switch. Let's change out the spacebar switch, okay? Where is it? Change out the spacebar. Maybe change it for like a Shinhai? Is it okay? A Shinhai? Can we change it for a Shinhai? Shinhai. Okay, let's try this. It sounds a little bit... It sounds kind of hollow. I'm pretty surprised because this keyboard is like pretty hefty. Maybe I need to do top mount or something? I don't know. I switched the spacebar out though, so we'll see. Maybe we need to add a layer. Maybe we need to add a layer of like case foam or something and see. We'll see. I'm doing great as CEO. Sent out an email saying some company's gonna be laid off. Suddenly my team held a meeting with upper management. Wait. Are you gonna be laid off? Is that what happened? Oh my god. I impulse bought a retro Neo Ergo today. Soundtrack. Exciting. Everyone, no, listen. People who don't even really like keyboards have... Well, people who aren't as into keyboards anymore are even like buying the Neo Ergo. It's changing lives. Lucky was a meeting saying department... Okay, your department was unaffected. Thank you. Thank you for confirming. I was a little concerned. You know. I do show concern for people despite my, you know... There's the end, unaffected. Hey, Geo, but came to a meeting fully expecting to be fired. I would be freaking out too, especially if they call you into a meeting after sending a company-wide email saying there would be layoffs. Bro. But then they're like, JK, you're not gonna be affected, you know? This color scheme is bussin' though. This color scheme is bussin'. Europe tour would probably be 3 cities. Europe tour, they're going to Berlin, Paris, Amsterdam, and I think UK. Is the UK still Europe? Is it still, like, a part of Europe? Like, can someone explain to me the geopolitics of the UK and continental Europe? Can you explain it? Explain, like, I'm 5 and also only use 2 words. Can you do that? Like, I need it to be really dumbed down. Like, 2 words, explain like I'm 5. Okay? Adam Geo is here. Adam Geo and Jiren are here. Who's the imposter? One needs to die. One needs to die. There can only be one Geo. You know, we have fun here. Personally, I like all the places that rancid. This place is fucking rancid, okay? Neo Ergo giveaway? Nuckin' Futs, my mommy. Welcome in. How are you, mommy? Mommy Futs? How are you, mommy Futs? Chichiro is also here. Welcome in, Chichiro. Hello. Okay, wait. Everyone's saying I should buy a Neo Ergo. I think I want to buy it to, like, check it out, you know? We'll see. We'll see. Maybe should I do it? I don't know. Can you guys give me $100? Oh, fuck. Jesus. I'm sorry. All right, there you go. Sounds like shit, blame Geo. If it sounds like shit, blame Geo. Adam Geo, he means we all understood. The vibe should be capable of giving you a disease. Yes, the vibe here, if you don't get a disease from watching this, then, like, what the fuck are you doing? You're not watching it correctly, you know? Outlet Spring, yes, the spring. I forgot that it's called the spring. Right shift user, alt-right. Yeah, I'm an alt-right. Catch me January 6th, you know? I'm just kidding. I was not there. For legal purposes, I was not there, okay? Where was I? I don't even know where I was. I think I was probably on TV watching it unfold, and then I was like, oh shit, they're in. You know, they breaking in. I can show you. Nazi shift key, the Antichrist. Yeah, I knew it. My first message just now. I'm trying my best. I'm like moving as fast as I can, okay? She's a bit behind. She's always behind. I'll be behind you, getting back shots. You know, you like it when I'm behind. I know you guys like it when I'm behind. Don't even act like you know how to run a business, because you don't, okay? Don't let Insty hear you say HHKB. Well, HHKB. Well, fucking Insty's not here, and he's a fucking fascist, so, like, do we really care what he thinks? Okay? These are all the same sets. HHK. Honestly, these sets, there was Oh, listen. After Perestroika shit, Brian, cheering at 9 giving me backshots LA January 6th.
Violinist _ cheer.
Imagine like that's on like a court document. Like I'm in the court. I'm in court and like, I'm just telling Your Honor, I wasn't there. Like my friend can confirm I was giving him backshots in LA at the time. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the court reporter? If I were the court reporter, I'd be gagged. Listen, court reporters, they know all of the tea and drama. It's crazy. They know everything. Honestly, that is such a fun job. That is such a fun job. You just hear all the fucking tea come out. Upper management in the call talk about 10 minutes about how it sucks to make the decision who's cut. Are we getting fired? Just cut to the chase. Sent anonymous message after we said like jobs. They were like, oh man, I thought you told you your apartment would be unaffected. Why would they scare you like that? Why would they scare your department like that? How do they San Francisco if they come to NA? Yes, I think she's coming to San Francisco, and they're also going to they're going to LA as well, of course. And I think they're going to Atlanta. Okay, had our jobs. I should have been there the second you started streaming. It was my mistake. You should have. You should have. The key circle was there when I started streaming. How unfortunate for him. But where is he now? Where is he now? Before you even started, I should have been here. Hi, Maker Mod Musings is here. Hello, Modular Musings. How are you? I hope you're happy with the decisions you've made in your life. You know, why does that sound like threatening? It sounds like I'm like gonna threaten you. Is it okay if I threaten you? Anyway, hello, Little Tokyo Keeps is here. Hello, Little Tokyo Keeps. Wait, you're a content creator, right? Hold on, let me follow you. I gotta follow. Hello, Little Tokyo Keeps. How are you? Are you in Tokyo? Wait, I think I asked you that before. You're not in Tokyo. I lied. I asked you that before. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I have a bad memory. I do have a bad memory, though. I'm getting tested for ADHD, so we'll see. Jizzy Dreamer is here. Hi, Jizzy Dreamer. It's been a minute. How are you? I have not seen you, bestie. Woke up looking like this. Calorie count of ramen I'm about to make is 420. Blaze it. I've only had fucking beef noodle soup today. My mom makes the best fucking beef noodle soup. Like, it is so fucking good, and that's all I've had today. And God bless. Probably why my stomach is not feeling great right now. Okay, wow, this looks gorgeous. It just looks like a bar of like, I want to like eat it. I want to eat it. Let's see. Request the song Euphoria by Kendrick Lamar, but we already said we're gonna play XG. Are you an XG anti? Okay, let's put this away. I think we might need to maybe try top mount, maybe try some foam on this. I'm not sure. Okay. Justice for Bingsu. All right, let's play Euphoria. Let's play Euphoria by Kendrick Lamar. Is that the one that's like A minor, or is that a different one? There's just so many that he's put out. A minor. Okay, hi, Daddy Night. Ariola is here. Sorry, Ariella, how are you? Welcome. What is this? Hello, Ariella. Can we get a shout out to Ariella? Whose birthday it wasn't. Its birthday wasn't. All right, this is our first build. It looks beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. We love to say shout out White. Did you just call Matthew Encina White? Excuse me, he's my Filipino king. Don't ever call him White. Okay, what are we doing? I think I might change